Welcome back to Restaurant Review. I'm your host, Bob Bockelman, and we appreciate y'all coming back to see us. Today, we do have an announcement that's been important for me for several weeks now that we've been on the station, and that is that effective Saturday, December the 22nd, at 3 p.m., we will be live. That's right, no more live to tape. I know a lot of you all have enjoyed us watching, and for those who are still going to see this show, you'll see it this coming Wednesday at midnight and noon, and Friday at 6 in the morning and 6 in the evening. So hopefully you'll catch this because we've got a great show for you today. But don't forget, and tell your friends and neighbors, Saturday, 12/22, we're starting at 3 to 4. We will invite you to be our audience any week from then on. Enjoy not only the hospitality of our host, our guest, and myself, as well as the music that we present to the screen. Now today, we have a lovely musician, as you know, for those who've seen our early shows, that we do debut a new artist to our community. And today we have a transplant from San Francisco who recognized that not only the culinary skills of Louisiana, but even the musical skills are better here than any place else in the United States. So we're going to go ahead and take our stroll and meet today's guest. And we're pleased to have OLGA WILHEMINA. There we go. We've got a lovely German name like myself, so I should be able to pronounce it. Olga, welcome to our city.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming on board. We're anxious for the community to hear Olga, and she does appear at one of our main stomping grounds is the Neutral Ground. Is that right?
Neutral Ground, indeed.
Good. Do you have a venue scheduled soon?
Yes, I will actually be there on the 14th, which is a Friday, in about a week or so.
Good, great. So you get out to see her. She hadn't got a CD out yet, but I know she's going to do several songs for us today. What are you going to do our first song?
First song is an old tune called "Got a Mind to Ramble." And
great.
I'm
Take it away.
I'm a rambling girl. On the wall and on the ceiling, see your face all night long, and I get so blue. I want to leave my happy home, yeah. I'd rather be on a freight train than laying here in my beer, 'cause I've got you on my mind and freight trains in my ear. I could do like those other women, ooh, stay home and settle down, yeah. But I've got a mind to ramble, got a mind to leave this town. I'm gonna have me a freight train and ride it all night long, yeah, yeah. I see it tomorrow morning, baby. I'll be long, 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 yeah, alright. Yes, tomorrow morning, baby, I'll be long, long gone. Yes, I've got a mind to ramble, I've got a mind to leave this town.
Thank you very much, Olga, and you'll be hearing more from her as the show goes on. But again, our main feast here is the restaurant, not just the audio music, but the fill our palate. And today's restaurant is a great new one that's been around for maybe a little over a year in our West End near the Lake District, and it's called Wolfe of New Orleans. We've got a great menu cover to show you. Stop there. And now, of course, coincidentally, the executive chef and owner, we introduced Tom Wolfe. Tom, thanks for coming
Hey, Bob,
on.
how are you?
doing?
Great to see you.
Great.
Good to be here.
Well, great. Tell us, for those who don't know, you're a young and upcoming chef, a little bit about your background. So we'll show your credentials. That's always important.
Sure. I certainly like the first part, young and upcoming. Certainly young. We've been open for about 20 months now, and just a little nest egg out in Lakeview, right on Pontchartrain Boulevard. It's 7224 Pontchartrain Boulevard, and we opened up with the intentions of bringing back the old school of maisons, fine dine, in a comfortable, relaxed ambiance, and certainly I think we've hit that note.
Yeah, well, but what about your background as a chef? And we'll talk. I'm going to give some info on the restaurant itself.
Sure.
What about your chef? Give us some credentials about yourself so the folks know that they're coming to someone who knows what he's doing.
Absolutely. Well, I went to culinary school here at Delgado's Community College.
Great.
And out of Delgado, I worked for the Brennans at Mr. B's restaurant, helped open Baco's, and along with that, finally applied at Emeril Lagasse at his namesake restaurant.
Big names.
Yeah, sure. And really, that was a great experience. Working there for about 8 years, 8.5 years, and certainly couldn't trade that for anything in the world. As far as the education that I received, and the people I got to work with there at Emeril's. So.
Well, that's right. It is a great training ground, and we are seeing more and more chefs coming out of that area. So we're glad to see that. I mean, just like many years ago, the Brennan family, Paul Pradam, and all were offshoots of that organization. So we're glad to see we have another famous entity in town that is bringing us the expansion of our restaurants and the proliferation of our restaurants, really.
Absolutely.
But now, more importantly, let's get into the food, because that's what the people want to hear. So we're going to start off as we always do. You have a beautiful selection of appetizers. I was fortunate enough to go last night again to the restaurant. I had been earlier once before and wanted to try what's on the menu. You change your menu periodically. I know you're getting ready to change again.
I do. I change it usually about 2 or 3 times a year. That's we say seasonal.
Right.
How many seasons are in New Orleans?
There
I
you
mean,
go.
honestly,
There
2. So.
Okay. Someone's already calling us, Tom, so they must be your personality. So let's go ahead and take our caller. Welcome to Restaurant Review. I'm Bob Bockelman and Tom Wolfe.
Hello.
Hello, who's this?
This is Grace. I'm one of your followers.
Thanks, Grace.
I would like to know what type of lamb dishes do they have?
Well, you're a very good question, because, in fact, that's one of the following entrees that we're going to talk about. So why don't you continue to listen up, and we'll be glad to address particularly when we get to that entree. But he does have lamb on the menu now.
Okay, great.
Do you standardly keep a lamb dish on it, or is that
Absolutely.
off and on?
We offer lamb on our basic menu, which I'm not so sure is so basic, but certainly Creolish. What we do right now, and we're getting ready to do a fall menu change, it's just grilled lamb chops. It's with a potato galette, which is like a little potato cake.
Right.
The potato cake is stuffed with the lamb sausage, of course. One of the things you learn in culinary school and throughout your training is utilization. So what we've done was taken a whole lamb saddle, we break it down, trim off the deckle meat, which is little bits and pieces. You really can't serve it as portions. We grind it up, make sausage, and stuff it in this potato cake with a little goat cheese.
That sounds delicious.
And then, of course, sauteed Granny Smith apples to kind of break the fattiness in the potato, and rosemary lamb jus, kind of simple in the end. So
definitely, that rosemary jus was excellent. So if you like lamb, Grace, I encourage you. I know Grace lives out in the Lakeview area, so please give Tom a try, because I think you really will enjoy that dish. And we'll probably go back over it as we go through when we get to the entrees. Thank you for calling. And
all righty. Thanks for the information. I sure appreciate it.
Don't forget our
You're more than welcome,
Don't
Grace.
forget
Thank
our
you.
new.
Okay, bye-bye.
one last time. Don't forget our new schedule starting December 18th at 3 o'clock. We'll be live, folks, so everyone can catch the program and call in and, of course, be in our audience. But let's move on because we really haven't even started the appetizers this time. I know I had at least 2 small portions the other night, and the first one I had was, I know it was duck. Let's go over that duck because even though we're getting on the exotic part of the menu, duck and lamb, but let's go ahead and talk about the duck one because it was delicious.
Well, you know, we talk about exotics, and these days exotic food has taken a turn, and a real drastic turn at that. The duck sausage that we do, and once again, we're big on certain things that are indigenous to Louisiana, and we do duck. However, it is shipped in. But duck is very famous in Louisiana. So what we wanted to do is, once again, make a little duck sausage to get our charcuterie skills up to par. Right. And we do a duck sausage with sweet potato nests, just kind of like encrusted around the duck sausage with seared foie gras from Hudson Valley.
My favorite.
Is a wonderful appetizer.
I'm a pate nut and nothing better than foie gras. Now, Tom, we got another caller. I mean, we're never going to get through the menu. Let's see who we have on the phone. This is Bob and Tom. Who are we talking to, please?
This is Paul from Bay St. Louis.
Paul from Bay St. Louis. Great, Paul. How are you?
Fine. I wanted to ask, what kind of vegetarian dishes do you have there?
Vegetarian. Good
my
question.
girlfriend is a veg.
Your girlfriend is a veg. I hope you don't mean that literally, Paul.
No.
No.
I don't have a carrot as a girlfriend.
Okay.
I was going to ask, is she a veggie, like sitting on the TV and you can't get the remote, or what you're talking about? But one of the things, I'm a diabetic, Paul, and what I like to do is be encouraged by guests that come in and kind of push me on the envelope of creativity. So at the bottom of our menu, we just kind of mention, if you're a vegetarian, please ask your waiter what vegetables we have in-house during the season or on that weekend or that day that you guys come in, and we'll do 5 courses for you. If you want to do the tasting yourself, Paul, we offer a regular degustation menu, or if you wanted to do a vegetarian tasting, we could do that. Let alone, absolutely, and let alone just doing an entree, vegetable entree, or vegetable appetizer. We do things like balsamic braised Bermuda onion stuff with saffron risotto, with a little feta cheese, mashed potatoes. We do some fun stuff. Very tasty stuff.
I'm telling you, I had the risotto last night, and it was on a meat dish, but it was just
good.
It was a cherry flavored, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, and I loved.
That sounds great. I can't wait to come and visit.
Well, we appreciate you coming and calling.
Can't wait to have you, Paul. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, let's see. Let's move on then, because we're catching a lot of the entrees without even starting through the appetizers.
These guys are ready to eat. They don't want to play around.
There you go. I think I also had a taste of another exotic, and using the term exotic, but wild meat is rabbit. Didn't I have a tempura rabbit?
Yes, you did.
Brought in his oriental influence on that. Let's talk about that, because it was delicious.
A little Asian stint there. We basically butchered the rabbit. Once again, take what parts we can't use. We use the loin to do the actual appetizer. So you have all this rabbit left over. So once again, we tempura fry the rabbit loin. We put it on a little pool of peanut dipping sauce. With this, crushed red peppers, a little soy sauce, some honey, and thicken up. This is in cream, by the way. Soy sauce, honey, crushed red peppers, and then thicken it with just a little bit of peanut butter. It's a great thickening agent. It's almost like a butter sauce, just as temperamental. If you add too much, it breaks, and so on and so forth. We serve this with a bok choy crispy wonton spring roll. Something a little left wing for regional cuisine, but hey, in New Orleans, we have many different nationalities here.
That's what making it so great.
That's what we like
now,
to
we
do.
want to touch on a couple more if we can get through, but I know we got a lot to hit. So your signature appetizer is that crab, isn't that? Crab
signature,
cake?
I would have to say, is the duck. But the crab is also, it's a very, very close runner-up.
Great.
So.
Okay, well, let's talk about it real quickly, and then we're going to move on, folks, because, again, we have a lot to cover here, and if we keep getting the callers, we'll never get through this. But tell us a little bit about the crab cake.
Okay. Well, the crab cake, it's Southwest influences, and we serve the crab cake on a black bean cilantro puree. Real simple. And then the old school kind of, back in the old days of New Orleans food, they served the little ramekins, the little silver cups.
Right.
So we said, hey, let's try to keep it a little old school style. So we serve 3 ramekins, 3 little silver bullets. We call them bullets in the restaurant. Right. With pepper jack sour cream, smoked onion guacamole. Smoked shrimp guacamole, and a little fire roasted corn tomato salsa to go accent the crab cake. Fried tortillas and a lot of fun. So.
Excellent, excellent. And I'm just going to mention, we're not going to go over it, but the last appetizer on was this cherry wood fired oysters, and I just think
cherry wood smoked. Those are great.
Smoked oysters. Those got to be my next visit. That's definitely got something I'm trying. But now we also have a lot of soups. We're going to pass on soups today because we're running short. But we do want to touch on the salads. It's got a beautiful selection. I had the remoulade, and folks, this was completely different than our traditional remoulade. That doesn't mean it was bad. It was just the opposite. It was delightful. It was. Let's talk a little bit about it, because first the presentation was excellent. The shrimp were intertwined, so it was a romantic shrimp remoulade. Let's go ahead and...
As my cooks like to say, it's sexy, Bob. It's
sexy. You're right, it's sexy.
But, here's another traditional dish that you see all over in New Orleans, shrimp remoulade. With us, we wanted to do it with a little more of the French influences, serving celery root with it. So we do a little celery root slaw that's tossed real simple with the remoulade dressing. It's on baby greens. Now the fun part of this salad, and I think that kind of puts it over the edge for most people, and this is a big seller at the restaurant. People absolutely love it. It is the fried corn.
Yeah.
Fresh corn, shave it right off the cob. Tossed with a little Crystal hot sauce or Tabasco, and then dredged in flour and fried. Simple as it sounds, delicious.
It looks like sweet potato.
Sweet and spicy.
Sweet and spicy, but it's great. Little tidbits. It is so good. So, folks, definitely try it. Definitely try it. Now, there's some other salads. I know I love spinach, and that's a basic with everyone, but you do it a little different. We didn't try this one, but let's talk about that, because I know it's one of your ones that you like.
Yes. The spinach salad... actually, and this is one that we change back and forth between the summer and the fall menu. So it will be changing soon, but if you guys come in, we'll certainly fix it for you. We do it now with roasted pearl onions, a little balsamic syrup, and goat cheese. Now, the vinaigrette is tossed with, or should I say the vinaigrette is made with foie gras and sherry vinegar. So foie gras sherry vinaigrette with the baby spinach, goat cheese, pearl onions, and crispy pancetta on top. How can you mess that up? No, I mean, really, no. It's delicious.
You're right. Now, you said you were changing that salad a little bit, even though you'll do it if someone asks. What are you going to be replacing it with? Do you know?
Well, I have to say, when we opened the restaurant, we had Granny Smith apples spiced with a little allspice and holiday kind of fall season kind of spices. That with baby spinach. Red onions, and a bacon blue cheese vinaigrette.
Cool.
It's a delightful salad. Let me tell you, it's really good. So this is one of the things when we changed it from the spinach salad with the foie gras dressing, which is dynamite, certainly for the summer, a little bit lighter than the blue cheese bacon vinaigrette. We wanted to bring that salad back because so many people have asked us, when are you going to get the salad back? So,
well, Tom, we have another caller. I hate to interrupt, but I'm telling you, they're knocking us dead here. So, caller, this is Bob and Tom Wolfe of Wolfe's Restaurant of New Orleans. Who are we speaking to?
Hi, this is Leslie.
Hi, Leslie. How are you?
Hi, fine.
What can we?
Hi, Leslie.
Hi. I am in from out of town, and I was wondering, and I've just tuned in. What is the name of the restaurant?
It's Wolfe of New Orleans, named after the gentleman sitting on my side here.
Okay. And what type of food do you serve? Like, is it Greek or Italian or a little bit of everything?
It's what I like to call it, Leslie, is...
You call it the New American? What do you
call
it?
No.
I didn't call it. All right, go ahead.
No, contemporary New Orleans.
New Orleans,
and the reasoning behind contemporary New Orleans is, you see a lot of people contemporary Creole that do the trout almondine and do the oysters Rockefeller, a little bit different, but however, it's in the same format. With us, we took New Orleans as a whole and said, what does New Orleans offer as cuisine? And my answer is it offers Chinese, Thai, American, you name it, Italian, Portugal, every type of cuisine is here, right here in New Orleans. So what we like to do is call it Contemporary New Orleans. So there is no limitations on what we do, Leslie.
Well, it sounds like a good place to get a little taste of everything if you're not from here, too.
It really is, and certainly you can order the tasting menu, and usually we'll jump from nation to nation and try to tease your palate a little bit with the tasting, going from Southwest all the way to Asian, So
Well, do you serve like the traditional New Orleans desserts, or do you kind of put a flair on those too?
Well, with the desserts, we have a little fun with the desserts as well. The most popular dessert that we serve is Ellie's White Chocolate Butter Bar, Ellie being my mother. And I remember when I was very young, she used to make these little brownie square, these white chocolate brownie squares, and I would have to steal 4 or 5, put them in my pocket, and run upstairs and hide them, and then kind of hoard them for later on in the evening.
One of those things you crave?
One of those things I craved for 30 years, and certainly when I opened my restaurant, to pay tribute to my mother and her influences on me, and what she's taught me and with cooking, and what her mother, my grandmother, has taught me with just respecting the food. My grandmother grew her own vegetables and things like that. Big respect on that end. So the white chocolate, the white chocolate butter bars is definitely a big seller and one of the best sellers.
They sound very good. I'm going to have to come by and try those.
Leslie, please do. We're going to hit the desserts in a little bit. We want to get through our entrees. But before you go, where are you visiting from?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Wow.
Great to have you.
We have a chef from South Carolina who worked also at Emerald's. Who has her own restaurant. Her name is Heidi Troll, and we'll hopefully have her on. We've had her on our radio show. But her name of her restaurant is called Elizabeth's, and her husband is still the bakery chef at Emerald's.
Oh.
So you got some hometown people here who decided that this is the place to be permanently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the call, and
thank you, Leslie.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's see. We were talking about salads, and again, we're going to have to cut them short. I know you have a few more on the menu, and we've talked about them. But let's hit the entrees, because, of course, that's the... And before we do that, I do have to always interrupt, because, folks, as I've said on numerous occasions, both here on TV and radio, is that one of my judges of a good New Orleans restaurant is its bread. And it's always been a measure of me, whether they make it themselves, which, of course, is the premier effort, but more importantly, even if they use a vendor, that they choose the best bread for their particular cuisine. And Tom, first of all, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, does all of his own breads. Yes. And not only that, gives you a variety. There's at least 4 or 5. Let's talk a little bit about the bread basket that we had last night, and generally they can look for, because it's something that really will whet your palate and really tell you what you're in store for.
Certainly, our pastry department with the breads and desserts are doing a fabulous job. We offer that old famous Italian focaccia.
Right.
We do a yogurt cracker.
That was
real simple yogurt cracker. That's a big request for the bread basket.
Excellent.
And then we do cornbread. We do a sourdough bread. We do a white bread. We do a wheat bread. So we like to switch it up. Occasionally we'll do pumpernickel. So just some fun breads at the table. Not your typical 1 or 2 selection kind of thing. Because some people don't like any one of those types of bread. So we want to make sure everyone's happy.
I tasted every one, folks. So whatever you do, don't fill up on the bread, and that's my fault. And one of my real failings is that when bread's
that's
there,
a big problem at the restaurant.
It's exactly right. So definitely try it, but try and keep it to 1 or 2 pieces at the most. Now let's go on to the entrees, because that's the killer part of the menu, folks. I was able to sample 3 of them last night, and unfortunately, as Tom can attest, I didn't even get a chance to try the desserts, even if I wanted to, because I was so stuffed. But let's talk about the one I enjoyed. Well, the first one I had was, I believe, was it your redfish. This was panko redfish, wasn't it?
This is
again a little bit of a Japanese influence for people who don't know about panko. Let's talk about that. Redfish has been, our premier fish here in New Orleans, pioneered by one of our old elder chef statesmen,
absolutely,
Paul Pradam. In fact, it cost, for those who don't know, who are getting this out of state, They put a run on redfish, and eventually for many years it was banned. It's only now that the proliferation's back, and thank God it is, because it's truly one of our best fish. So let's talk how you do it with this Panchenko.
Sure. The panko crusted redfish. You know, one thing about the redfish is that we used to have spotter planes go out, and the planes would view the waters to see where the redfish were schooling, and they'd send the boats out with the big nets and scoop up the whole school. Well, that has ended now, and really all you can do is long line fish for redfish now. So we get a lot of the redfish in from Texas and South Carolina or North Carolina. But one of the things we like to do, and I was talking to, I think it was either Paul or Leslie, that one of the callers, was, you know, contemporary New Orleans cuisine. Now, this is probably one of the dishes the French might not care for too much, where we did panko-crusted redfish, which is a Japanese breadcrumb made from rice flour. Real simple. It's we marinate it in a corned beef brine, the redfish fillet. Dijon mustard, then crust it. We pan fry it. We serve it with a little pan-fried crab toast. The sauce, however, is a French sauce. It's velouté. And we'll do smoked Gouda cheese grated right over the top of this velouté sauce with fried garlic. It's you know, as far as the flavors, it reminds you of what New Orleans is about.
Basics of New Orleans.
Big flavors,
heavy,
big bold flavors, rich, but not too heavy on the stomach.
Right.
Very light fried fish. Fried fish, there you go. You know, all the characteristics of a New Orleans dish. However, it's
Totally
my
different.
dish.
Totally
I guess we
different.
can call it somewhat of the mutt dish. It's made up of all nationalities, and certainly our biggest seller.
It is great. It's
So.
definitely one of his signature seafood dishes. And what I'm saying is it's so light that batter, the panko bread, rice, I keep saying breadcrumbs, but panko rice crumbs.
It's actually rice flour, yeah.
It's so good. It makes it so light flavor that it's truly a delight, folks. So you need to try it. But now let's
Please
go
do.
to your other signature dish, and that's your duck.
The
so
duck.
again, we're going for what some people consider exotic, but I'm telling you, folks, you got to try some of these. So let's talk about how you did the duck. Was just superb.
Well, the duck is certainly a fun thing to prepare, and certainly challenging on the cook. What we do is take the whole duck and we cure it for 24 hours. And real basically, it's a cure for 24 hours. We blanch it in vinegar, similar to like the Peking style, one part of the method of Peking style duck. Once we blanch it, while it's still warm, we put it in a Steen's cane syrup brine for 24 hours. Steen's cane syrup, indigenous to Louisiana from Avery Island, awesome. And then after it's been cured for 24 hours, in the brine for 24 hours, we pull it out and we let it dry in the cooler for 24 hours. Kind of pulls a lot of the fat out, a lot of the liquid from the fat, so when we roast it, the fat can render a little more than normal. So after these 4 days of process, Bob, when we go ahead and we go to serve it, what we'll do is we'll butcher it, take a half a duck. That's what you guys get, a half a duck. It's roasted off, served with the risotto, the kiln-dried cherry
Because I didn't get a half a duck because
I didn't give you a half a duck.
I didn't want to have a duck, folks.
You ate all the appetizers, all the salads, so I gave you a couple of the entrees. But
Big job, big job.
And then, you know, with bourbon glazed, buttered sweet potatoes, once again, kind of New Orleans style.
I don't drink, folks,
backwoods
but that
cooking,
flavor
so.
was excellent. It was really excellent.
Well,
really
good,
excellent.
good.
So
I'm
glad
you
it was near
enjoyed
the end of the meal, not the beginning, because then maybe I would have thought you were trying to bias my taste.
And of course, you have to serve that with a light jus.
Yes.
So we do a tarragon duck jus, just to kind of, you know.
Now, we need to talk, because a lot of our folks are always out there, even though we're not Kansas City, we need to talk about a filet. We got to have a beef dish. You know that. Everybody has it. Not everybody does a great job of it. I didn't try it yet, so I hope to make another visit. But let's talk about your filet, so that our folks here who don't want to try the seafood, want to try some of the meat, and don't want to go that extra mile to one of the exotic meats. Let's stick with the basic beef. What do we do with that?
Sure. I'd say outside of the lamb and outside of the duck, our filet is also you know, they're equally as good depending on what you like. The filet is seasoned with a little bit of the house spice. We do a Creole spice in-house. It's our own recipe. And we grill it off, and we serve it with, like in a little spoon of parsnip puree. That's kind of a sweet carrot, white carrot puree kind of thing. Roasted carrots and a savory bread pudding made with red wine braised mushrooms. Not the sweet bread pudding that you get and it's overpowering. It's very good. Savory bread pudding, and it's served with shallot, caramelized shallot reduction. It's really a dynamite dish. And once again, the restaurant and myself and what I've created is known for big flavors, bold flavors, no wimpy flavors at the restaurant. So, you have to love to eat in order to come to the restaurant. So, and of course you can come. Whoever wants to come, you can come and enjoy a salad too.
Exactly. But now there's two more areas. One, we want to revisit the lamb that Grace called about. Why don't we do that now? And then of course we got to show a chicken dish because everyone loves chicken nowadays, and whether they like it or not, they love it. So let's talk about real quickly. Go once more time over the lamb because it was wonderful last night, and then we'll hit on the chicken before we move forward.
Sure.
Okay.
The lamb dish, like I said previous in the show, is very easy. It's grilled lamb chops, done very simply, with a potato galette that's served with lamb sausage and goat cheese, sautéed Granny Smith apples, and a rosemary lamb jus. Real simple, sweetness from the apples, a little fattiness from the goat cheese. It's really good. Very good.
Excellent, folks. Now let's hit on the ultimate, the chicken. Everybody's got to have chicken on their menu, and you do a good job with it. So let's talk about the chicken.
Instead of steamed rice and broccoli that a lot of people tend to do, or some kind of
don't knock that.
Some kind of spoon bread. What we did was I was in my backyard one day grilling chicken.
Oh.
And I said, what can we do with all these tidbits that fell off the chicken, and one of the legs fall apart, they fell apart.
Not on the ground,
no, fall apart, not fall on the ground, but fall apart. So we picked the chicken and did like a barbecued chicken and potato hash that we served at the house. And I tell you, as simple as it sounds, as simple as it is, the flavor is phenomenal. So what we do now at the restaurant, we've incorporated it on the menu. A little pan-roasted chicken breast, organic chicken breast, or free range, and that's served on the barbecue chicken confit potato hash, oven-dried tomatoes, haricot vert, and a lemon thyme chicken reduction. So dynamite, very simple backwoods.
Well, we're pushing quickly, folks, to get through this menu, and hopefully you're following it all. But of course, we want you to go out and try Wolfe's. Before we continue with the dialogue we have here, we'd like to bring back our musical guest, Olga, to do our second song for the day. And Olga, why don't you tell us what you're going to be doing?
Well, this is a kind of a tune based on some of the stylings of the old North Mississippi hill country blues. I've been spending a lot of time with and learning a lot from an old blueswoman by the name of Jessie Mae Hemphill up there. And so I wrote this little tune in that style. It's called "Oh Man, I Picked the Wrong Brother Again." Oh man, picked the wrong brother again. Why did I choose you? It's your brother, that's true. Now we can't be friends. Oh man, should've listened to my head. You were a tree, but it's your brother who's sweet. Wish I loved him instead. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh man, should've shot you down, yeah. Could've had joy with your younger boy, but it's too late to turn around. Oh Oh, now I'm missing out on you. Oh, what else am I to do? Should've stopped to think before sipping your drink, 'cause now I'm breaking up in two. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh,
Nice. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Alga. And Alga will be back one more time when we roll the credits to do a third song. We'll announce that yet. But you can see she's really perfecting her craft. So she's got a good basis from when she came. But at the same time, we're going to see bigger and better things in her music as she gets our local influence and our adjoining states, the people she's visiting up in Mississippi. What time we need to get back? We need to,
Sure.
I would love to talk about more of your entrees. And again, if you want to say anything about a particular entree that you're introducing as your new menu that's coming up in a couple of weeks, that's fine. But if not, we got to move forward to desserts. Anything in particular you really want to throw out there for the entree?
One that I will mention is the crab meat mascarpone stuffed cannelloni. We're done with a little Parma ham portobello salad.
Okay.
And a 3-cheese sun-dried tomato fondue.
Very nice.
Really going to be nice.
Very nice. Now, we didn't mention that you are open, of course, evenings. You're dark on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
And you do have a luncheon. Originally, you started, I think, just one day. You have a couple of days, but Thursday and Friday for lunch.
Thursday and Friday.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those at night like that nice Friday lunch away from the office, try Tons. Let's go ahead and start about, we had one call that Leslie wanted to know about desserts, and I know you rattled on about it, but let's go back and give it the deserved treatment that desserts really require. Unfortunately, folks, as I said, I didn't get a chance to try any, so I've got to go ahead and come back there and give the desserts and skip some of the entrees, maybe just do a soup, appetizer, and dessert meal. Let's talk about, first of all, what's your signature dessert, you think, of your 5 that you carry?
Definitely Ellie's white chocolate butter bars.
And that's the one we're talking about. We said named after your mom.
That's right. So it was actually her recipe. Of course, it called for Betty Crocker's, and we had to go convert it to scratch baking. So that was really dynamite. So maybe not quite as good as mom's, but certainly our best seller. A quick rundown on desserts. We have the chocolate decadence cake with chocolate mousse layers, served with a frangelica strawberry coulis. Then we do the angel food cake, citrus angel food cake, which is kind of a little bit New Orleans.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't see that, so I missed that.
With macerated berries and a little sugar tweel and some candied citrus zest, really fresh and light.
That's great.
And then we have the tarragon crepe, that is wrapped around jicama and Granny Smith apples. That's seasoned with a little, or spiced up with a little bit of cinnamon, allspice, and sugar. And that's served on a Calvados creme anglaise, really good. And then the vanilla bean strawberry preserve parfait with white chocolate, dark chocolate mousse, and candy pecan twirls. I don't know. You guys can make your own.
That sounds like the ultimate. Tell us, for those who don't know, I mean, I have to admit I do, but I mean, the jicama, what is the jicama?
I'm sorry?
On your dessert.
Jicama?
What am I saying, jicama?
Jicama is referred to as the Mexican potato.
Mexican potato, right.
Mexican potato. It
is it a root? It's
a root vegetable. It's a root vegetable.
Right.
It has a lot of the characteristics of a water chestnut.
Ah.
You could put it with something, it'll take on the flavor of just about anything. Kind of a good neutral flavor, full of water.
Right.
Really a great fresh type of vegetable or root veg that you can use.
Well, folks, I hope that you can get through the entrees to dessert better than I did. But we still need a few more items to talk about to complete our restaurant review today. And the thing is beverages. As you know, wines are so important to any restaurant today. In fact, Tom and I were discussing last night, many times the wine are the leaders to the restaurant. I rather enjoy the food rather than the wine nowadays, because I think sometimes we put too much emphasis on the wine. And when we have such excellent chefs, don't give them the just deserve that they do. The wine is supposed to supplement the meal, not overtake it. So, but let's talk about, because we want to make them feel that there is, because there's nothing better than a glass of wine. I used to drink wine and I love the taste of it. So let's talk about some of the wines you carry. I know you don't have the largest list, but at the same time you do have a great selection, and that's what we want to make them feel comfortable that they're going to be able, with all these varied foods that you have, that you're going to be able to supplement it nicely, folks, with a nice grade of your choice and in your price range.
Absolutely. Our wine list started off being very small, 27 wines or something like that. And I think, Bob, we've gotten up to about 90 wines. Jose Flores, my general manager, is doing a dynamite job with the wine program. Me still being a novice, we offer, of course, all the varietals. We're learning a little bit more on the different things that we could do. But we concentrate on the wine-food pairing is what we really want to keep our minds on, because of what Bob mentioned. Sometimes the wine list is so extravagant you can barely read it. You barely know what's going on. And certainly the restaurant's too busy to focus on explaining to you what the wines are doing. So, but we offer, in the Merlot section, we do Duckhorn or Sebastiani, either end of, something like that. We offer all kinds of great wines. We do Ravenswood. We do, 100 wines. You can go on and on. Of course, we have the upper echelon of wines. George de la Tour. We have the George de la Tour Reserve. Right. We have this Silver Oak and all the
let's
the
say
big
those
names.
are the special occasions.
Right. If you wanted to get into those wines, but our wine list is really dynamite.
But it sounds like you've done a good job with regard to rounding out the meal, and that's the key, is to be able to offer to your customers enough of variety in their price range, but to supplement especially the varied foods.
Absolutely.
We've heard a lot of different cuisines put together here in New Orleans style, so obviously there are different wines for that. One of the other things we need to talk about, folks, which is so true and important to any restaurant, is service. And Tom started talking a little bit about it with his general manager with regard to his wines. At the same time, I did find a very courteous staff, and again, willing to explain anything on the menu. A lot of us go in today and sometimes feel intimidated by Tom can rattle off all these words, and they sound good, they look good in print. But if we don't know what they are, just because it's a fancy word, that's silly for us to just take it because it sounds good. Obviously, we have our preferences with regard to certain entrees, certain things we dislike, but there's no reason why, we can't stop and ask a waiter or a waitress a little bit about the food. She might not know what temperature and all, that's too much. But the important thing is how the ingredients, the general preparation, and that way it'll make your choice the right one, because no one likes for you to order the wrong thing, and whether it's sending back or just not, that's not the question. It's the idea of being disappointed. A restaurant, there's nothing makes a chef more happy is to have his clients happy and enjoying their meal, not just second guessing it or having to eat it because they've already bought it, and thinking they're being intimidated if they say something bad about it. So let's talk about the service. The service was punctual and, like I said, very, very informative with a quiet kind of reserve, which I like. And let's talk a little bit about that, Tom.
Sure. Well, the service that we offer is gang service. This is another educational thing that I picked up from Emerald in his restaurants. Everyone's served at once. Our service staff is really doing an excellent job. They're very, like Bob said, very punctual or acute to what's going on. They do their best. We have pre-meal every day to explain certain words that I might introduce on the special menus that we do change daily. These guys are very anxious about doing a great job, and certainly have done a great job. And one of the good things that I like about it is they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not overly attentive. They're
Right,
very
reserved.
comfortable. They're very reserved with the service. They're right there if you need something.
And one thing I have to say, and don't take me wrong, is pretension. I don't care for pretension when the waiting staff, and even though Emerald has pioneered the gang staff, at the same time, some of the things that have turned me off by his staff is that same team when there's no need to be serving this. You have to click your heels together. We're not in a Toreador contest. So I think there's a degree with regard to being prompt, courteous, respectful, but reserved. The waiter should not be the focus of the menu. It should not be the focus of the restaurant. They should be in the backdrop, just like the chef, but doing what they have to do best.
You know, Bob, it's funny you say that because
I'm sorry to knock your boss there, but that is one of the things that I have.
You know, nothing's perfect in any restaurant, and certainly what Emerald's does in some facets is phenomenal.
Right.
Just as Clancy's does.
Of course,
is
everyone's
phenomenal.
got their
and everyone
fair.
has, you know, and so you can't judge a book by its cover. Certainly go and check it out. But the persistence of certain sales and things like that. Some people are scared to have a young staff. For me, I took it on as a challenge, and I said, you know, one of the things, once again, of course, working for him for so long, is I learned that you can almost take somebody that knows very little and train them in doing exactly what you see in your mind or exactly what you're trying to set out to do, and put someone that doesn't know what they're doing on that path a lot easier than someone that knows everything already. Right. So you're right. They're certainly not pretentious, and they love to help the guests, and they do a terrific job at it. So, yeah.
Well, that's the key, folks. And like I say, the important thing is, and you're right in that regard, to when you get someone who doesn't have the knowledge, they're eager to learn. That's the key. Someone with a lot of background, you expect to be able to hit the floor right away and do it. At the same time, he or she carries his or her training, his or her preconceived ideas of what table service should be. And that may or may not be what the chef or this restaurant features. And that's the thing I'm concerned with. I think you're right to try. Now, of course, you run the same risk you did of being young, and once that experience comes along, they might want to jump and go to somebody, you know, with a new restaurant or have their own, whatever. So you always have that chance of the turnover. But at the same time, you're getting people who are anxious to be in the business, who you know are loving it, not just there for the job, not just there for the better pay because, you know, your restaurant is doing well and thriving at that time. So I think you've done a good job to reflect that. At the same time, they're extremely courteous to no matter what diner, and as I've said 3 times already, are reserved, or in the background, waiting for your call, but you're not anticipating anything. You're not having to look or to ask for something. So, folks, once again, we've been speaking to Thomas Wolfe. He's the executive chef and owner of Wolfe's of New Orleans. We appreciate him coming by. We want to go ahead and tell you one last time before we go to credits is that as of December 22nd, 3 p.m. we'll be live. So tell your friends and neighbors. Also, our director, Robert, is going to put up a number for you to call and my website, which is info@restreview.com. info@restreview.com. There, folks, you can go ahead and ask any question about the show, but more importantly, if you'd like tickets to be in our audience gets to win, gets to see our meals, gets to taste our meals by winning a gift certificate or whatever from our complimentary host. So the important thing is to go ahead and join our audience, give that number a call, or get on the website, find out what we're about, and stay tuned for us. So before we end for the day, we want to go ahead and say again, thanks to Tom Wolfe. And now we want to turn it over to our host, our musical guest, and that's Olga Wilhelmina, who's going to close out the show. And folks, we'll look for you on the 22nd. Thanks, and come back.
I'm the host already, huh?
Yeah, pretty good.
This is a little tune called 219 Train. A 219 train ran from New Orleans to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
219 Don't took my babe away. 219 Don't took my babe away. Maybe that 217 train will bring my baby back to me someday. Yeah. I went down to the station, watched the train roll by. I went down to the station, watched the train roll by. I saw my man's face at the window. Oh, I think I'm gonna hang my head down and cry. And I walked home without him. Big clouds were hanging low. Yes, I walked home without him. Ooh, those big clouds were hanging low. And now I raise my head every time I hear that train whistle blow. When a man gets the blues low, well, he grabs a train and he rides. When a man gets the blues low, he grabs a train and he rides. But when a woman gets the blues on it, she just hangs her head down and she cries. 219, don't took my babe away. 219 train, don't took my babe away. Maybe that 217 train will bring my baby back to me someday. Yeah.
Great, Olga. Thanks. We thought that song was going to be long, and that's why we shot to it early. I apologize for that, for not coordinating it with our guest. One last thing, folks, I didn't mention is that on the 22nd, that is our Christmas show, and we've got a great lineup. We're going to keep the restaurant under wraps, but I think you'll recognize that it's important to see for the Christmas season something beautiful. Just like we see the backdrop of Tom's Restaurant here, we always like to feature that so you feel part of what it looks like, so you get the whole ambiance. The other thing, though, is the musical guests. We're bringing back, we don't always give you the new upcoming artists, even though that's what we like to feature, just like the restaurant. But just like we debuted this show with very important local talent, Philip Melanson, we've got gangbusters. We're hoping to get Johnny Angel and his band, a big 18 pieces in here. If we can fit them all in the studio, it's going to be a tremendous effort. So that'll help bring in the holidays, and we'll be live to you all at 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock on December 22nd. That's Saturday before Christmas, and we're hoping that you're going to come spend some time with us during that day to help make your Christmas even better. Once again, we look forward to you coming back on the 22nd. If you have any questions about the show, please contact my website. We'll give it one more time for you. That's www.restreview.com. If you want to send a message on that website, it would be www.info@restrevue. And we spell it RESTREVUE. But if you spell it the old way, REVIEW, it's still going to come to us. We've got both of those names locked up. So do give us some feedback. We know we've had an audience building out there, even though our shows have been taped, and we want you to become more and more active. You see the callers and make the show, as you've seen today. We had some lively callers. Of course, we had a great guest. Both our musical and our restaurant guests had brought a lot of vitality to the program. That's the key. But the important thing is to getting you all out in the audience to know the restaurant, to understand, to be able to find out that your particular idea of cuisine or your particular information is accurate, so you'll want to try our restaurants. Remember, we're going to be going statewide. It's not just New Orleans. We're featuring New Orleans because there's so many restaurants here that continue to open up. We're proliferating faster than rabbits. It's so great. So we want to get a lot of those to you as soon as possible, but at the same time, we're going to be featuring not only the music, but also the restaurants of Louisiana. We're hoping all of our audience will continue to expand, and we hope to expand the show beyond just the confines of Orleans. We are in Greater Orleans with Channel 77. If I haven't said it before, this is Channel 77. Program name is Restaurant Review, which you've heard. I'm Bob Bockelman. You can also see me in several of the rags. I do write for North Lake News. I also write for Gulf Coast Arts Review and for the Liquid newspaper. So you can watch for those papers. They're all free rags. You can pick them up at Borders or any of the other local coffee houses, galleries, and you can see who we're featuring in that month. It's not always the same person we have on the show. Many times it's not. We like to give a lot of variety so that way you can read about these restaurants as well as see them here on the TV. Again, our thanks go out to Tom Wolfe. He helped us out tremendously, and we want you to go and taste the food that he's been so nice to talk about today. So we're going to say goodbye today. We're hoping to get our credits start rolling for you, and we look forward to you coming to see us live on Saturday, December 22nd. Don't forget, that's 3 o'clock, 3 to 4, Saturday, December 27th, here on Channel 77. For Restaurant Review, this is Bob Bockelman. Thanks, and see you on the 22nd.